Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Today in True Crime and Portraits podcast. I'm your host, Jane Flowers. Today is episode 2 of season 2 of my podcast, and today I will be going over my book, Dirty Money in the Delta, a true story about white-collar crime at Melton Law Firm and Trustmark Bank in Greenwood, Mississippi. I want to talk about why I wrote the book and what the book is essentially about. So, I wrote the book to bring awareness to the fact my mother's name is used with identity theft with this law firm, and there's not one government entity that will investigate the law firm. And I wrote about the fact that the Greenwood Mississippi Police Department protect the law firm, and they racketeer with the law firm. And by government entities not investigating the law firm when I have substantial leads that prove that my mother's name is used with identity theft and was used with identity theft during the time I had my trust with the law firm and after my trust was closed in March of 2007, then those government entities that refuse to investigate the law firm are protecting the law firm. So I have an embezzlement of my inheritance with the law firm, Melton Law Firm, and they also mishandle my mother's estate. So before we go into detail about that, I want to read this really quick. This is what it says on the back of my book, Dirty Money in the Delta. In the riveting true crime story of Jane's fight for justice, readers are taken on a journey through the corrupt judicial system of northern Mississippi. For 3 long years, Jane has been fighting tirelessly to receive justice, but it seems that justice cannot be served if the organized criminals running the system are not held accountable for their heinous crimes. Jane's story sheds light on the shocking reality of identity theft, money laundering, fraud, tax evasion, and embezzlement within the judicial system. Despite the overall overwhelming evidence against these criminals, they continue to manipulate and abuse their power to evade punishment. In this captivating book, readers are given an insider's look at the corruption that Jane has endured and her ongoing struggle for justice. With steadfast determination and unwavering strength, Jane remains at the front of this battle for accountability and reform. So, I published this book. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it at Barnes & Nobles and other retail sellers. And it's an ebook form, paperback, and hardback. Well, okay, so let's talk a little bit about the book. So, I wrote the book to bring awareness to what these criminals, these white-collar attorneys are doing regarding the embezzlement of my inheritance, which is under $5 million in World War II Series E bonds, and to bring awareness to the fact that they use my mother's name with identity theft. They use her name with identity theft to launder money. They use her name with identity theft with a Trustmark Bank account. So the attorney that was over my trust fund, his name is Floyd Melton Jr. He was a trustee, and my mother had guardian ad litem of my trust. And Floyd Jr. is a Shriner. He is a Freemason, but he's a Shriner, and he is a Vietnam veteran. Okay? And Judge John Barnwell, who's also mentioned in my book, he's retired Chancery court judge. He and his family are very close and very good friends with Floyd Melton Jr., attorney Floyd Melton III as well. And Floyd Melton III is also into money laundering, and his wife, Lisa Trotter Melton, she is as well. Okay, so they do a lot of cleaning the money by purchasing property, residential and commercial, like apartments and stuff. That's how they clean the money. They have been laundering money, oh gosh, for over 25, maybe going on 30 years. So my mother told me around 2001 that I had under $5 million in World War II Series E bonds in my trust. My grandfather had left them to me as an inheritance. And she told me that I should redeem those bonds and take the money and put it in a savings account and live off the interest of those World War II Series E bonds. But unfortunately, that never happened. And instead, my mother, who had a drug and alcohol addiction, she started redeeming the bonds under her name and a woman who goes by her name is Sandra K. Hayes. She redeemed the bonds under my mom's name and Sandra K. Hayes' Social Security number with Trustmark Bank in Greenwood, Mississippi on Highway 82. There's two Trustmark banks there, one in downtown Greenwood, and the other one was the one that my mom went to and opened the bank account under her name and Sandra K. Hayes' Social Security number. I have a signature statement that states this is a fact. Okay, now I brought this information to the Greenwood Police Department, and around February and March of 2020. And Detective Layton, who is no longer a detective, he's a highway patrol, he is a police officer that works on duty, like in his squad car, pulling over people that speed, whatnot. And he is no longer a detective, but he still works for the Greenwood Police Department. And in March of 2020, my case was open for about a week with the Greenwood Police Department, but it got sent to them in February of 2020 from the Jackson Police Department, but they really didn't look at it until around March of 2020. So when my police report got sent there, I also had in March of 2020 a warrant for my arrest sent out by Pennsylvania for a stalking charge. It was a false stalking charge. And on another episode, possibly tomorrow, I will talk about that false stalking charge and what I have been going through with my stalker, who is a trans woman from Pennsylvania. She is from she was born a male and he now is a female. So his name is Amber Nightingale, and he is from Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So I guess tomorrow, why not talk about that story, because it is somewhat connected to what's going on with these Masons. And Amber Nightingale is a Freemason. He was born a male. He's been going to the Masonic Temple in Harrisburg for quite a while. And I'm sorry, not Harrisburg, Elizabethtown, but Harrisburg is right there, okay, by Elizabethtown. And Amber Nightingale's father, Andy Nightingale, is also a Freemason. So a lot of these people, and Andy Nightingale's a Vietnam vet. Judge Barnwell is a Vietnam vet, and he had to sign off on all the fraudulent orders for this law firm, and when they were doing all their fraud and really illegal criminal shit. So also I have a death threat from a Derry Wynn Johnson, and he is a former business partner at Melton Law Firm, and he is also from Pennsylvania. I think it's Williamsport, Pennsylvania, which is only about, I guess, an hour drive from Elizabethtown. And he told me in 2016 that I should leave my, just he told me, don't go after my money, don't go to court, don't try to fight my embezzlement case in court because the attorneys are going to kill me. And he said there's no money to get back anyway because they've spent all the money, and there's no reason to go to court because I won't get any money back. He said, but even if you win your court case and you win it, they're still going to kill you. So I filed a police report about this in I spoke to him over Facebook. He contacted me, and I didn't know who this person was at all. So he said they're going to kill me. So this was in 2016. And then in 2017, April 1st, 2017, this trans woman who I never knew or met went to the police April 1st, 2017 in Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, not far from where Derry Johnson is from, and claimed to police that I was stalking. This person was born a man, so I'm going to say man. Amber Nightingale, he said that I was stalking him. You know, my beliefs are this: if you were born a man, if you were born a boy, you are going to be a man later in life, regardless if you cut your penis off and you try to make yourself pretend like you're a woman, okay? That's my beliefs, okay? You can try all day long and get the fake breasts and cut your penis off, but in the long run, you're still a man, okay? You can shoot hormones into your body to make you more feminine, okay? But you were born a boy. You were born a boy, okay? That's what you biologically are, okay? So I have a civil rights lawsuit with this person in Florida because the police refused to investigate my stalker. That is another story. I will talk about that tomorrow. Okay? So, I have gone through hell and back, and I continue to go through hell on a daily basis with individuals connected to these white-collar attorneys. And I'm telling you what, it is not easy. I don't have money for an attorney to file a lawsuit and get my money back because why? I found my bonds that were embezzled. I found my bonds through a search with the Department of Treasury under my mother's name and Sandra K. Hayes' Social Security number. Okay? And I told the Greenwood Police Department in March of 2020 that I had found my bonds, and that didn't matter to them. They disregarded the fact that I had a trust fund. They disregarded the fact that I claim to them, and to this day, and in my book, I will always stand by my claim because it's a true claim that my inheritance was embezzled. Instead, the law firm told me that I was just trying to get information about my mother's estate because these white-collar attorneys that were using her name with identity theft from 2001 up into her death, August 25th, 2006, while she was under the care of the white-collar attorneys. Yeah, they told me, oh, she died from heart attack. Yeah, and Dr. John Trotter, who is Lisa Trotter Melton's brother. This is all in my book, Dirty Money in the Delta, okay? It's really an interesting book. You should please, if you have time, you like true crime stories, read it. But Dr. John Trotter said my mom died from a heart attack, and he's a cardiologist. Yep. And he purchased a residential property for $2 million in 2007 after my mom passed. And he also purchased a home for $350,000. So that's what these people do. And they are business partners with Suresh and Dinesh Chawla. And Suresh and Dinesh Chawla are former business partners with Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Alan Weisselberg, and the Trump Organization. So I go through shit that you would never want anyone in your family to go through. I mean, these people are evil. They are dangerous, and they want nothing for me to except be 6 feet under dead, okay? But anyway, I'm not going to die. I'm not suicidal, and I will continue to inform everybody about their organized criminal enterprise, okay? Now, March of 2020, the Greenwood Police Department, Detective Layton said, you need to speak to District Attorney, Leflore County District Attorney Timothy Jones, because Timothy Jones has spoken with attorney Floyd Melton III at Melton Law Firm, who's over your mother's estate. And attorney Floyd Melton III has informed me and Timothy Jones, this is what Detective Lates told me, that you're crazy. I'm crazy, he stated to me. And we're going by what attorney Floyd Melton III has told us. Okay? And we're not, per District Attorney Timothy Jones, we're not going to pursue your case. Because number one, even if your mother was involved with identity theft, the statute of limitation has run out. Number two, you're crazy. Number three, attorney Floyd Melton III says that's just a typo on that signature statement with Trustmark Bank, where your mom's name is attached to another person's social. That social security number is a typo. Okay? Now, I verified that it's not a typo. But every time I try to speak to Detective Layton about this the search I did for the Department of Treasury under my mother's name and Sandra's social security number, he would hang the phone up in my face. Okay? And there is no statute of limitation in the state of Mississippi for embezzlement. There is not. So I'm still on the statute, and I will be for the next 100 years if I want, which is not going to be 100 years. Hopefully it'll be within the next year or before. I am legally, by law, can file my case because my case has to do with an embezzlement of my trust. And within the case of the embezzlement of my trust are crimes such as money laundering, tax evasion, racketeering, identity theft. There's a slew of crimes involved in the embezzlement of my inheritance, okay? So, but Detective Layton would hang up in my face. He would just hang up in my face. That's it. He didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to speak about it because why? He was racketeering with the law firm. He told me to call District Attorney Timothy Jones, and Timothy and Jones would explain more. So I called Timothy Jones, and he is a former district attorney for Leflore County, Mississippi. And Timothy Jones said, "Now, Jane, you know you're crazy. You know you're crazy. And attorney Floyd Melton III has informed us that you're crazy. And he's also told us," meaning him and Detective Layton, that social security number you have on that Trustmark Bank signature statement is just a typo. And you're only trying to find out about your mother's estate, which you have no right to find out about. And I was like, what the hell? These people are really fucking crooked. I said, no, I'm not trying to find out about her estate. I had a trust fund, and I want to get my money back. I found my money through a Department of Treasury search under my mother's name and the social security number. He didn't want to hear it. He said, I'm sorry, we're not going to talk about this anymore. I agree with Floyd III. You're crazy, and this is done. We're done. We're not going to investigate your case, and that's it. So that's what I went through with the district attorney who racketeered with a law firm, and this is Leflore County District Attorney. That's what I went through with him and Greenwood Police Department Detective Layton. Okay, so now I later spoke to police officer Jody Bradley, and Jody Bradley spoke to me in March of 2020 and told me the identity theft had run out with my mother's name because if she was indeed involved with identity theft, and they can't pursue my case because of those reasons. Well, the fact of the matter is there's no statute of limitation for embezzlement in the state of Mississippi, but they did not want to speak about embezzlement. They did not want to talk about my inheritance. They kept going back to my mother, her estate, and the fact that her name was involved with identity theft. So Jody Bradley referred me to the Secret Service, okay? And so I called the U.S. Attorney's Office in Oxford, Mississippi, shortly after about 3 months after March, April, May, June. I think it was like around June. I called the U.S. Attorney's Office in Oxford, Mississippi. I spoke with the U.S. Attorney in Northern Western District at Oxford, Mississippi, Samuel Stringfellow, and I explained to him what was going on. I explained to him I need his help if he can to get the Secret Service to investigate my case, because Jody Bradley, police officer who was at the time in March 2020 was the chief of police in Greenwood, Mississippi at the Greenwood Police Department, he referred me to the Secret Service, and I needed help getting the Secret Service to investigate my case, because why? They investigate identity theft. But let me say this much. Recently I went to the Secret Service, and let me tell you something. Anything or anybody connected to Donald Trump, the Secret Service protect Donald Trump. They do not give a rat's ass about me. The FBI don't give a rat's ass about me. The U.S. Attorney's Office do not give a shit about my life or the fact my mother's name is used as identity theft. Who else? I could go down the list. The Attorney General's Office in Jackson, Mississippi, they are a joke. They protect organized criminals. They are not for the, they don't help Mississippians or people that have problems with embezzlement and identity theft in the state of Mississippi, and the list goes on and on. So anyway, so U.S. Attorney Samuel Stringfellow in Oxford around June of 2020, he had Secret Service agent Roger Kirby investigate my case for about 2.5 months. Roger Kirby told me that there were a lot of military involved with my case. Okay. He said that something about Georgia is involved with the embezzlement of my trust and my mother's name used with identity theft. So now that's what he told me. He also asked me personal questions about my breast. I was taken back. I'm going to tell you what. This is a Secret Service agent, works for the government, asking me private personal questions about my breast. I reported him to the Secret Service because he was going behind my back after he asked about my breast and speaking to my sister about what we spoke about my breast. And it was really sick that he would do that, because my sister has nothing to do with my breasts. It's none of her business about my breasts, and it sure as hell wasn't any business of Secret Service agent Roger Kirby. Roger, R-O-G-E-R, Kirby, K-I-R-B-Y. None of his fucking business about my fucking breasts. Me in a vulnerable time, and concerned if I did not answer these questions to him about my breasts, that he might stop investigating my case. And that's what he did. He stopped investigating my case once I filed a complaint with the Secret Service in Jackson to his superior about him questioning me about my breast, and then going behind my back shortly after and telling my sister that we spoke about my breast. Sick fucking bastard. Roger Kirby. Okay. Now, the last text message I got from Roger Kirby, he stated to me that he was going to send a subpoena to the Department of Treasury for the information related to my mother's name and Sandra Cahay's Social Security number that she was using to redeem bonds. My bonds, World War II series E-bonds that were left to me by my grandfather, Thomas Chester Boring Sr. So those bonds, I have that search. I did a search with the Department of Treasury in December of 2019. So I know where my money is. It obviously was, those bonds were redeemed by my mother. That could have been also redeemed by Derry Wynn Johnson, He is the one that threatened my life and verbally told me over a phone call that he worked for Melton Law Firm up until 2008. He also registered his Lincoln Town Car to my grandfather's home in 2007 and 2008 after my mother passed on August 25th, 2006. And he threatened my life. So I found out this information on truthfinder.com that he had actually registered his Lincoln Town Car to 300 West Claiborne Street, and he did that for a couple of years. He also had some registration, and I don't think it was his car, but his name is linked to 304 East Monroe Street, which is a home that my mother had owned, and he did that in 2007 as well. So somehow, some way, maybe because he had registered his Lincoln car to my grandfather's home, maybe he at 300 West Claiborne Street, and that's the address that the bonds, the World War II Series E bonds were registered to. It's possible he had something to do with the money laundering and the redeeming of those bonds as well. I do not know. I cannot get a government entity to help me and investigate these people. So I set up a GoFundMe. You can go on my website, Today in True Crime and Portraits.com, and you see my GoFundMe there if you want to donate and help me get an attorney. I mean, eventually I'm going to get an attorney. If I don't get donations, I'm still going to get one, because I will figure out how to work and get the money to get that money to get an attorney. Eventually I'll get one. So all right, now, so Secret Service Agent Roger Kirby text messaged me July 30th, 2020. He said, I'm going to subpoena the Department of Treasury for this information under your mother's name and Sandra's social. That never happened. I never got any information about that. Instead, my case was closed, and I got an email from Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman from Oxford, and he stated your case is closed. That's it. He didn't say why. They refused to speak to me. It's just the same old song and dance like that Detective Layton with the Greenwood Police Department did. Refused to speak to me. They didn't hang up in my face, but it's essentially the same thing, that Detective Layton did, hanging up. They don't want to talk to me about it because they know I have a lead. And apparently they want to protect the law firm. They want to protect Melton Law Firm because, in my opinion, the law firm Moss Melton, attorney Moss Melton, is business partners with Suresh Chawla for a very long time. Now, go back. Who is Suresh Chawla? Business partners with former business Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, Alan Weisselberg, and the Trump Organization. So there you go. And who was, Bill Barr. Bill Barr helped to hide a lot of crimes that were ongoing with Donald Trump, and I have a feeling that Bill Barr stepped in and had his say-so and made sure that the U.S. Attorney's Office closed my case. And not only that, Roger Kirby was obviously a corrupt Secret Service agent, and if you think about it, he racketeered as well with that law firm by not investigating them. I received an email from Secret Service Roger Kirby stating the identity theft had run out. Let me go back. My case is not just identity theft, it's embezzlement of my trust, and I found out about the identity theft in December of 2019 when I did a search with the Department of Treasury that verified, yes, my mother had redeemed those bonds, okay? So I'm still good with the identity theft for a few more years. But if any crime is involved with embezzlement of my assets, my case is an embezzlement case. So there can be multiple crimes involved with that. And when I mean multiple, there are a lot of crimes involved with the embezzlement of my inheritance, okay? Now, another thing that I was told is I had a former boyfriend, and I dated this guy for about 7 years, and he was former military. And he told me in 2014 that my sister embezzled from my trust. And I will eventually probably find out about it. And when I do, I'm going to be pissed off. I did find out about it because she was joint on a bank account, that Trustmark Bank account with my mom. Now, he also told me, this former boyfriend that I dated for 7 years, that Floyd Melton the third, and he is keeping the money that he is laundering in the Cayman Islands. So I was like, wow, this is really interesting, And then sometimes I go on Facebook, and before, when I've gone on there, I might look at Floyd Melton III's Facebook page, and I see that he goes often to the Virgin Islands. Well, hello, Virgin Islands are very, very close to the Cayman Islands. I mean, these people are just out in the open. They do everything that they do, and regarding to it could be involved with their criminal behavior, and it's just out in the open. They just very very flashy. They think they are untouchable. They think they are above the law, and in my opinion, they are. They are above the law. There's not one government entity that will investigate them. I mean, I just went to the FBI like about 2.5, maybe 3 weeks ago. I went to the FBI, showed the FBI agent all this information, and they did nothing. They didn't do anything at all. I mean, they do not care. And in the long run, I feel like the reason they don't care is because it all goes back to Donald Trump. I mean, Jesus. I mean, if you look at this and you read my book, I put all the dots together. I mean, follow the money, follow the leads. And these government entities refuse to investigate them because a lot of it goes back to Donald Trump and his kids. Don Jr. is just an organized criminal. So is his daddy, Donald Trump, organized criminal. Eric Trump's wife is from North Carolina. Sandra K. Hayes lives in North Carolina with her Marine hubby, who is in the Marines. He is still in the military. And like I said before, Secret Service agent Roger Kirby said there's a lot of military involved with my case. I'm going to tell you what, my life is in danger, and I watch my back 24/7. Yeah, I mean, even when I'm sleeping, my security cameras watch my back. I am a targeted individual. I'm a targeted individual in different ways. And I'm not going to give up my fight for justice, because why? I want my fucking money back. I want my money back that was embezzled from my trust. I want justice. I want justice for my mother. My mother's name is used with identity theft with this law firm. Okay. So, update. Here's an update. Johnny Gary with the Chancery Clerk's Office in Leflore County said the final accounting of my trust is still missing. So I spoke with Johnny Gary verbally, and it's been a few weeks now. And the last time I spoke to him, he said this has never happened before, meaning no files have ever come up missing with the Chancery Clerk's Office, and they don't lose them. And so I'm trying to get Johnny, because I was told by Judge Sanders that he oversees any files that are in the Leflore County Chancery Courthouse. And I am trying to get him to file a police report. So it's like pulling teeth with him. He will not respond to any of my emails. I sent him about, when I mean respond, send me an email. Let me know through email what's going on, okay? And it's the same old song and dance like it was with the Greenwood Police Department. They don't respond to emails, except I got one email back, which is a civil rights lawsuit I'm going to be filing, and I have statute of limitations are good with that one. I have about 2.5 more years to file it. So, because the Greenwood Police Department, not only did Detective Layton refuse me due process, but Detective William Nevels, who also racketeered with Melton Law Firm, he refused me due process regarding the embezzlement of my inheritance. So that's another civil rights lawsuit. So it's just like same thing with him. Detective Nevels refused to respond to my emails. The only time he did respond is when he scolded me and he went off on me and said, "How dare you talk to me in that language," when all I did was send him an email and tell him I was depressed. This is making me upset that he won't speak to me about my case. So I will talk about my second civil rights lawsuit I have for refusal of due process with Detective Nevels, William Nevels, with the Greenwood Police Department on a later date. And I will keep you guys updated about the final accounting of my trust file that is missing from the Leflore County Chancery Court's office and what Johnny Gary's going to do about that. And you know, I also emailed Judge Sanders and asked her what she thought should be done because he's responsible for those files. It's really not my responsibility to file the police report. So this is my ongoing struggle. There's more information and more like very juicy information about white collar crime, money laundering, identity theft that you will be hearing in the near future. And I will be holding episodes specifically to talk about Donald Trump's relationship with Suresh and Dinesh Chawla and how Suresh and Dinesh Chawla are business partners with Moss Melton and practically like family with attorney Floyd Melton III. Moss and Floyd III are both attorneys, white collar attorneys, and are brothers. So I'll talk about Donald Trump's kids, Don Jr., and the Chawlas, and, you know, go into more detail about their relationship with this white collar law firm, okay? So I'm going to be signing off here in just a moment, and thank you for joining me today. If you get a chance, please stop by my website, Today in True Crime and Portraits, and donate to my campaigns if you can. $5, $10, whatever you can donate would help me greatly, okay? And anything helps. Everything helps. The money all adds up. And I will be back tomorrow with more juicy information about white collar crime, Secret Service, the FBI, and so much more. And I will go into detail on later dates about these government entities, more into detail, because there are things I have not mentioned today that I do want you to know. Okay? Thank you. It was wonderful having you with me today, and I will talk to you in some other time here on my podcast, Today in True Crime and Portraits. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.